Hello, I'm Ashley Story, and I'm joined by Rosie and Hannah, and we're going to be talking about their amazing award-winning series Out of Order, which is coming back on the 16th of September on Comedy Central. Yay!
Yay!
How are you doing, Rosie?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm so excited for our border to be coming back, but we filmed it ages ago now, so it feels like another lifetime ago.
Hannah, how are you doing? Where are you? You in a spaceship?
I'm good. I'm in the in the offices at Zeppotron actually, where I'm working at the moment. But is it very echoey? Sorry about that. No, I'm very good. I'm so excited. Again, yeah, we shot this so long ago, and even the edit was the end of last year. So I feel like it's exciting that these episodes are coming and people are going to see them and they'll be out there.
I'm going to tell you guys now, I got a little brief about the show before I watched them, and it says Rosie got on with the regulars, Rosie's regulars, really well, but I misread it and I thought it said Rosie got the regulars really wet, and I was like, oh, that's nice. That's good.
To be fair, I think I did.
Do you know what? It's a show about judgment. It's a show about casting judgments on people. And Rosie, judging you, your outfits were on point, my friend.
Well, I cannot take credit for it. It was my amazing stylist, Brit. And to get into serious stuff immediately, I was very aware that most hosts on comedy shows are male, quite boring, just the same suit every episode. So I thought, no, if I'm the host, I'm gonna use my body, use what I look like, and yeah, I kept thinking, what's my favorite outfit? And I can't decide because I look so fit in them all.
I love the tangerine like princess dress episode one. I think it's stunning. It's one of my favorites and it's almost indecent. I'm worried about you bending over all the time.
Don't worry, I wore some orange shorts so you couldn't see my bum bum. No.
That was like part of the brief was she is going to be everywhere. So for Brit, it's like put her in a dress, but like she's going to be on the floor. And I think in every episode, Rosie ends up on the floor in some way. So it was like she needs to be able to run.
Yeah, if you're gonna let me be in charge, I'm gonna hump every part of the set constantly.
Cool. Rosie, what did you love about the format the first time when you first heard about it? What was it about the format that really took you?
I think what gets me is the element of don't judge a book by its cover. Because as a gay disabled woman, I get judged all day, every day. And I think what spoke to me more than that was the element of celebrating everyone's differences, and sure, you might make a snap judgment about somebody, but you're probably wrong. And as well as that, I knew where I fitted into that format. So I think another comedian, if they were the host, it could be quite easy to take the element of judging and be too harsh, or to go in on the regulars too much, and it was never about that for me. It was about bringing everyone along for the ride and going, look, we're all having fun. You judge me, I'll judge you, but it's so fun and positive and light-hearted. Yeah, I just thought, right, I can put my stamp all over this.
You
But
did
I think
indeed.
do you think it's that combination of format and host that makes that show? Because as Rosie said, a different comedian, or you know, if you were making this 10 years ago, you would make a very different show. And what is so funny and warm and amazing about it is the direction that Rosie took it in, and then you know, Catherine and Judy follow that lead, and all the comedians that came on followed that lead, and it's sort of everyone is in on the joke. We always wanted everyone to be part of the fun and for the regulars to give as good as they got and have a great time. And we're never saying your decision is wrong. We're just saying, can you tell from looking at somebody what their answer to this question is? And I think that's sort of what makes it so joyful, and why there's never a point in the show where you feel bad at laughing at anything that's happening. It's always that everyone is having a good time together. And I do think that that comes from Rosie and what she brings to what is already a fun format. So it's, for me, it's the combination, I think, of the show, but then what everybody on it brought to it as well.
Oh, 100%. Rosie sets the tone, and you can tell that she's kind of like the ringmaster in this very scary but also very safe circus, and that's what makes it such a great show. Just quickly on the subject, because you're judging people, is there any guests you had on that you're like, oh, MI5 are going to recruit you? You're too good at this. You're too good. Because I think Judy Love is quite good at like reading people quickly.
Judy is very good at judging people, but her downfall is she kept forgetting the rules. So every single episode without fail, she will go, what are we doing? Are we putting them in an order? And it was like, Judy, the show is called out of order, so she'd be good to have on your team as long as you reminded her where she was. I love Catherine. Catherine is my goddess, my comedy hero, and I never said it out loud. I thought she'd be better. She was way off the mark on a lot of things. So yeah, probably Judy more than Catherine, as long as you keep her in line.
I love that. I love the idea of Judy being like an MI5 profiler, but just
Yeah,
constantly forgetting what she's looking
yeah,
for.
yeah.
Somebody.
Who am I killing? Who am I?
Hannah, it's an amazing show. It's really fun. Lots of stuff happening on screen, but there's also lots of stuff happening behind the scenes. You had a scheme going on with Rumpus, a trainee scheme. Can you tell us a little bit about that and some of the people involved?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Rumpus are really trying or have really been trying to bring unrepresented groups into television. And I know it's something, I think it was probably originally inspired by the thing that Guz did on Man Like Mobeen, which I think is taught Tiger Aspect, where they brought in people from the local area to work on the show. And then Rumpus made Joe Lycett's show, Late Night Lycett, and they had a training scheme with people for people from Birmingham. And it was really incredibly successful, and everyone was very keen to bring it on to Out of Order. So we sort of put in fact, I can't take any credit for it. They put out an ad and said, we're looking for people from underrepresented backgrounds to come and take part. And we took on 2 trainees in the end, one who worked within the editorial department and one who worked within the production department, who both had, one was deaf, one was disabled. And they were incredible, both completely brilliant, and are now making their way in their careers in television. And it was so, it's a really, really tough industry to crack. Television is hard anyway. It's hard to get into. And at the moment, there are not a lot of jobs. People are finding things very hard, and it's hard for people to stay within television. So, it's not all easy sailing once you've got your first step on the ladder. But it was a wonderful experience to get to bring people who maybe would have found it more difficult to get into TV on board and make sure that the show accommodated them, and then they could really flourish and give so much to the program. And I do think we had an incredible team, and all of those people who worked on the show are really reflected in what a joyful, funny show it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rosie, obviously you're a champion for inclusivity in front of the camera, but how important was it for you to be a champion now for inclusivity behind the camera?
Oh, massively. From the beginning, when I got on board, I said I don't want anyone from the channel or the production company to be like, great, we got a gay disabled woman hosting. Now we got free rein to fill it with white, straight, non-disabled men. I wanted that diversity to go throughout, so on screen, from the guest regulars to the crew to the production team, and for me, having a disability trainees scheme was so important, because in a previous life, back when I was a normal person with a normal job, God forbid, I worked in TV and I got into it via a channel for disability trainee scheme. So the fact that we could give that opportunity and that start to more deaf and disabled people was so important to me. And I just think the fact that we could see that range of diversity at every point in the production made it for such a positive and amazing show, because when you represent the world, when you represent life in such a great and lovely way, people are so much open and keen to make the best show we can, and we really did.
Yeah.
And I also think that just having a diversity of people, a difference of thought, of experience across your show will always make it stronger, because you don't have the same, the team were doing loads of work, but they were like coming up with the questions for the show. And if you've got a range of lived experiences, you're going to approach that from a different way and write different funny things and different funny angles. And it's always going to make your show better if you don't just have one kind of person
Yeah.
working.
And like for me, when I normally enter spaces where I'm the only disabled person, or sometimes the only bloody woman, that's a lot of pressure to be like, oh, I got to represent this entire group of people. Whereas on this show, when I'm surrounded by other women, other queer people, other disabled people, it not only makes me feel less alone, but it gives me the freedom not to speak for disabled people or queer people. It just means that I'm speaking for Rosie, and that is a much more freeing thing to do, especially when you're creating comedy.
Yeah, I think the thing that people forget about diversity, because I'm the token autistic lady, is that not everybody with a similar disability is the same, and you can't represent everybody because you're not like all the people who have the same disability as you,
Yeah.
and it's difficult to be that one beacon. So it's exciting that you're making waves, Rosie. You're changing the world. She's a national treasure.
We all are.
I know, Rosie, that you and the public have such a such a close relationship. Hannah, I once had to ride a tandem bike with Rosie on the back in a busy street, and never in my life have I felt more pressure than with hundreds of people watching me with national treasure Rosie Jones on a tandem bike. And the weight of your belovedness is terrifying. Did you feel that, Hannah, when you were making the program? Like, this is Rosie Jones, guys. She's like one of the Queen's corgis. We have to protect her at all costs.
That's so funny. Do you know what? I don't know if I would ever have thought about the weight of Rosie's popularity, but I guess that's true. I mean, so Rosie and I have worked together for basically like most of my career. So Rosie, when she was talking about being a researcher, she was a researcher when I was an assistant producer. So like we have known each other for nearly a decade and have come up together through television. And then I remember the day in the office when Rosie said, "Oh, I'm going to go and try some stand up," and we were like, "Yeah, sure, give it a go, great." And then seeing her through competitions, and then Edinburgh, and then growing to the thing that she is today, the national treasure, Rosie Jones. I feel like we've been there through it. And also, I've been lucky enough to work with her on other shows as well. We did Trip Hazard together, and I've looked after her on other shows. So I feel like we have a very good working relationship in terms of the communication is very good. I think I can tell when Rosie is happy or not happy, and also we go, can we just go into friend mode quickly and talk about this as friend Hannah? Can I just say this to you? So that, I mean, we are so lucky that we have a really open sort of working relationships, but also I think Rosie and Rumpus were very, very keen that the show was Rosie's show. She was on, sometimes you'll make a show, you write the show, a person will come and they will host it. And that's often a very good way to make television, and often the host is very, very good. But Rosie was very integral to the whole DNA of this show, from like what is the tone of the show to, how we were approaching the casting, to what the question, she sort of had to sign up, the set. There was a lot of stuff where Rosie was involved all the way through. So in a way, I didn't really ever feel any pressure because Rosie was always across everything. I mean, some people would say control freak, but she's so diligent and she cares so much about the show and making it a great show, and also has that sort of producer head on her from having been behind the camera, that you can just go, look, we're thinking about doing something like this. Do you like that? Do you not like that? And she'll either be like, yeah, great, or she'll give you like, no, how could be better. So actually, in a way, it was one. Didn't feel pressure to look. I wanted her to have a great time. It was a big thing to host her first show. That's the thing I felt pressure about, looking after her as a person. But I knew that the show was Rosie, so that wasn't scary.
Well, first of all, thank you, Hannah. I love you. But out of all that became such a brilliant, wonderful series because of the team. And usually everyone knows this, but there's at least one dickhead on the production team, and you all bond over the hatred of the dickhead. But genuinely, on this show, I kept going round going, well, yeah. We haven't got a dickhead. Oh God, does that mean I'm the dickhead? And I just think we were able to make such a brilliant show because we had Hannah, who knows me so well. So when things got to me, usually it went through a few people who just know me, know my tone, and know exactly where my boundaries are. So it was so refreshing to work with a team who knew me, who got me, and who trusted me. Yeah, I hate to admit it, but I am a control freak, and I like to give the comedy a persona of being like, Rosie, where are we? I don't know. Let's just have fun, and I'll probably hump the floor. I can only do that if secretly I know where we are, I know where we're going, I know how to get to that destination, and if I have all the information, I can run with it. And thirdly, or fourthly, I don't know what numbers are now. I really think I could never, ever put my name to a show, especially one that I hosted, that I didn't truly love and care for and know about. So I would never be a person who rocks up, takes a paycheck, and fucks off again. It needs to be something that I go, yeah, this is why I do what I do, and out of order was definitely that kind of job.
Do you know what, Rosie? You're in very good company. Lucille Ball was like that. She played daft on camera, but behind the scenes, she was on top of every single little thing. That was her thing. She was a control freak as well. You're
Oh my God, actually, that's the best thing I've ever heard. Okay, that's going on my next tour poster. A wobbly Lucille Ball.
right. Back to the format. Were you surprised? Because at the end of the show, your regulars, Rosie's regulars, get to line up the cast and make their own judgment on you. Were you surprised by any of the results in that final round?
I mean, my biggest one is how long does it take for you to get ready? I watch 5 minutes. I get up, I'm out the door with half a bra on. I was surprised at Johnny Vegas. Long was it? 2 hours.
It's not, I mean, this is a spoiler for an episode in this block, Rosie. But yeah, it was. I mean, that's what's so nice about it, is that often the results were very surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they weren't so surprising, like who drinks the most.
Bonjour.
I think that's, and what was really nice is that as the regulars got to know all of you guys, they got better at doing it.
Yeah.
I can imagine
Yeah.
Johnny. I can imagine Johnny Vegas worrying about what hat, what bonnet he's gonna put on before he leaves the door.
That's it. That really surprised me. I love him. I grew up with him. He will always be one of my favourite ever comics. But I wanted to be like, Johnny, mate, what are you doing?
A little bit of inside baseball. He used to stay in my room when I was a kid, and I'd have to sleep on my parents' floor when he was gigging in Glasgow. And when I was like 10, I was convinced that he was touching my Playmobiles, and I hated him. And I had such a bugbear against Johnny Vegas because I was like, it was like that film, You Dirty Birdie, You Misery, where I was like, I'm sure my Playmobiles had moved an inch, and I'm sure he'd done it.
Well, that's the answer. That's why it takes so long to get ready, because it's moving Playmobiles.
Yeah, yeah, it takes time. Is there anything you wish you hadn't revealed about, or anything about the other team captains that really surprised you? I mean, I don't imagine you feeling regret about revealing anything. You're an open book, Rosie.
It was so funny. Hannah rang me up to get my answers for the final round, and she was like, I think I know this answer, but is anything off books? And I'm like, no, no, no. I think I told everyone everything.
Yeah, I don't. You are a very open book, I think. But that's. Oh,
Even you as my friend, you were like, I know all these answers already.
I think there were some that surprised me. There's one about how much you spend. I think this has already gone out. How much you spend on yourself, and that to me that was shocking. How little you pay for yourself. Basically, that's what it came down to.
Basically, I buy toothpaste and deodorant, and that's it.
I think what we just learned is Rosie's a notorious shoplifter.
Yes.
Yeah. They'll never catch me. Well, they can, but they can't say anything.
Guys, that's all the time we have. Rosie, Hannah, I'm so excited for this new series to come out. Thank you so much for chatting to me in this Zoom from your spaceship, and Rosie in front of what I hope isn't a mirror, because I've seen people move about and I was like, is that ghosts?
Yeah. I didn't say this before, but I am in a haunted house.
Makes sense. Okay, bye guys. Have fun. Live long and prosper.
Thank you so much. See